You know, with the internet, so many of us are so friggin' distracted. I mean, I have 20 personal career coaching clients, and one of the biggest things, literally the biggest thing I have to harp on them about is taking action on a weekly basis. And one of the hardest parts is because of all the distractions. They get one piece of advice, and then they Google something, and they get another one. And then that replaces the original piece of advice, and then they aren't executing because all this data is coming in, and ultimately the same result happens. No progress towards the goals. In today's video, I want to share with you how I actually maintain super strict focus, super religious focus to make sure I achieve all my goals. What's up, guys? It is Alex Hine here, author of Master the Day. How do I actually maintain focus, that bubble, in this midst of this haze of unproductivity that is so common today with people that just get distracted like left and right because we are bombarded? How do I actually maintain the focus? So the first productivity habit that changed my life was this understanding that being productive, like getting crap done, is not about doing more, but is about doing less. The fundamental flaw of productivity is this idea that if you can only do things faster, you can do 50% more, or you can do twice in the same amount of time in one day. But in reality, this is kind of a fatal flaw because it means you're not being discriminate with your action. So for example, with writing my book, you know, everyone's like, oh, just go on a little sabbatical and write for 6 or 9 hours a day. I get more writing done in 1 hour a day than many authors I know. Now, I don't know anyone who's a full-time author, but how is it that I'm getting so much stuff done in 1 hour a day rather than 9? Well, it starts with the 80-20 principle, which is that there's only a few things you have to do to get results in any aspect of your life, whether it's writing the book or getting fit. Now, I've talked about this before, but for me, one of the core 80-20 habits of writing my book was just writing 1,000 words a day. It wasn't like doing all this other research, making sure to slog out 9 hours. It was just 1 hour a day, 2 30-minute productivity blocks, and then I would be as productive as I could, and then that was it. And so what happened was, rather than working 9 hours, I got almost everything done in 1 hour. I was writing at least 1,000 words a day in that 1 hour period. So if I did 3 of those, I could knock out 3,000 words a day. But what happens in reality is that when you set more time, you just end up being less productive because you have more time to procrastinate. So if the goal is weight loss, the goal is fitness, the goal is writing a book, getting into a relationship, rather than adding more habits, what would happen if you just cut it down to one habit and then religiously focused on that? The first thing is that you have to do less. Not about doing more, it's being more strategic in what are the few things that get you the best results. All right, thing number 2. I actually force myself to maintain focus by using an app on the computer called the self-control app. So if I'm writing my book, you better damn well believe I'm not relying on my own discipline and relying on myself to not go on the internet. This app is called Self-Control. It's completely free. You just click it, you set the time limit, and it will block everything you want it to block for as long as you want, even if you restart your computer. I think you would have to uninstall your entire computer and clear it and reinstall it to try to have to deactivate this thing. So it really is a godsend. So number 2, use the self-control app. Don't rely on yourself to be like, all right, you know, I'm gonna be focused. Force yourself. Create systems that prevent you from failing. So the third thing here is an idea of less is more. I already introduced you to this on the 80-20 principle as well as with writing my book, but I'm a firm believer that almost anywhere you go, beginners believe that the best people just do more work. And that may be true. But for example, why is it that when I coach people on the phone, it's often beginners that spend the most time in the gym? They're spending 2-3 hours in the gym a day, which is insane. But the paradox, the irony, is that most of them are not getting the results they want. And that's very telling, because if the beginner is doing 2 or 3 times as much time and not getting the results, they're not working on the right things. One of the best things you can do is force yourself to think, really think, if I only had 30 minutes or 1 hour, what would be the most important habit to do on a daily basis? That right there, that focusing question is often the $1 million question. It's often exactly what you need to help you get results. But there's another interesting thing that happens. For example, when I moved back from China, I did a meditation challenge with my buddy where we wanted to meditate for an hour a day. Well, what do you think happened when I had to wake up and I had like an hour and a half to go to work, and then the sheet said, meditate for 60 minutes. That's a monstrous goal. Like, that is a lot of time to meditate. So what happened was I would just procrastinate. And because I'm a perfectionist, I would do nothing. And that's exactly what happens when you set a goal that's huge, or if you set this a kind of outrageous, like do something for multiple hours. It doesn't work because you end up procrastinating, because the goal is so big that the mental energy it takes to get started is overwhelming. The resistance just kicks our ass. So rather than doing that, what I often do is, if I can't meditate for 60 minutes, I start thinking back until there's a time that has very little resistance. So what I did was, I started with 30 minutes, even though I could do an hour, and then I went back 15, 10. And eventually, on some days, I literally would just do 1 minute and then increase it by 1 minute. So there's this problem where if you're trying to go after a goal and you set this outrageous goal of doing an hour of exercise and you've never done that before, or you haven't in a while, it doesn't work because the mental energy required, it just seems too big. But if you said 20 minutes or 10 minutes, suddenly you find yourself doing it. So those are the 3 strategies I use to really clear that haze of distraction. The first one is obviously being more discriminate, using the 80-20 principle, focusing on what really moves the needle for the habit. Second one, use the self-control app. And then the third one is just do less. If you find yourself procrastinating, do less. Don't write 1,000 words a day, write 100. Don't work out an hour a day, work out 10 minutes. Don't meditate 20 minutes a day, meditate 2 minutes a day. And that almost always works for me. Now, before you go, I want to hear from you below. Let me know what typically gets you into the haze. Like when you start going after a goal and then the haze sets in and you start getting really unhappy and like 5 hours have elapsed and nothing's happened. What gets you into that mood? Hey guys, it's Alex. Did you like this video? If so, there are 3 ways you can really stay in touch with me. The first thing is obviously to click the subscribe button right there. Every single day I'm releasing a brand new Tiny Habit video to help you lose weight, feel awesome, and live better. Second thing is you can check out my book, Master the Day. Brand new, just came out, it's been topping the Amazon bestseller list, and it's been getting great feedback. It's all about the tiny success habits to help you lose your next 20 or 30 pounds and get to kind of that next level, both in your health, but also in your life. And the third thing is, come visit me over on my website, modernhealthmonk.com. Punch in your email there and I'll give you a free guide on the exact 5 daily habits to help you lose your next 20 or 30 pounds. So go do those 3 things now, and I look forward to catching you in the next video.